the grind, never stop, leave behind. Live and see a distant fear, joyful scream so crystal clear. Cocoverse calling me, Cocoverse wild and free. Come and play eternally, Cocoverse ends reality.
What's good, everybody? Hope I was doing pretty good. Hope I was doing pretty well. Doing a very, very special Easter stream today. Didn't even know I was gonna get on today, honestly. I was like, you know what? It's Easter, I'm off, don't have to worry about working like that. Might as well just enjoy my day today. And I've been seeing PSO trending for quite a bit. And I was like, you know what? I have not played that in a very long while, so that's always a thing to always add on to that. So I guess what it comes down to, here goes the question though. Why does everybody go back to PSO? And I've thought about this for a bit. I've been like looking at like why, what made it so special, what made it so serene, what made like all the, I guess what was the biggest draw for it to a certain extent. It's always a question at this point. And I realized that the biggest draw for it effectively is the factor that it's basically a simple loot, grab, and the experience of it overall. That basically, while it's older gameplay, where you still you can't jump around or anything like that, crazy like that, it still had a solid overall. Oh, somebody's they're crashed now. Okay. It's still just a good overall game. There was no like a lot of flaws with it. It was roughly ahead of its time, is the best way to put it. And I thought about that very strongly about it for the factor that, hey, why do people still play PSO? Are they on a what's it called? A arc of some sort? I'm sorry, I get distracted too easy. But yeah, back to the subject at hand. It's like, why do games like that actually? Are they? How I'm sounding? How am I sounding today? Arc of some sort. I'm sorry, I get distracted too easy. But yeah, back to the. I'm sounding good. Okay, so I look at it and I'm like, it was very indistinguishable. Monster Hunter and PSO were very much alike at one time, like connected at the hip. In fact, oh, it should be on there then. May close this window now. Okay, all right, and they're connected by the hip. Oh gosh, that's loud. What's my mouse sensor? There it goes. Dude, I'm just trying to fix the audio here. There you go. Okay. That's still loud. How loud is it on stream? It's not super loud on stream, but it's loud for me though. There we go. And I think about like what all basically did they stray away from on the PSO game overall. Like, why did they stray away from it completely? Like, I think about like stats right now for the new Genesis situation, because it is a situation now at this point. It went from basically like they actually went in. I'm not sure why they took this direction as far as gameplay is concerned, but of course, you know, they gotta keep the paying people happy at this point. But I'm not sure how many people are paying for this exactly. The way it's designed, there's no actual soul to it to a certain extent. Like years ago, it was peak at 60K. 60K people playing, then they dropped down to like around, I think, like 45K playing it one time. Then it's like it felt like they didn't really come out with anything after that. No, there was no white rabbit to chase. Everything was time gated basically. In this game, you can sit there and just like grind to your heart's content. Oh yeah, I found I got back on ephinea again on here. I found I actually had an older account available. I guess my chat thing won't connect to that today. Oh goodness. I am sorry I'm scuffed on the Sunday. Usually I'm much more prepared, but I was like, I'm gonna stream today. All right. And I'm just basically just vibing. Okay. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get my back to basic scenario on here. I had old character on here, so roughly I basically made a fresh character and brought some gear over. Because I want to actually have that feeling of like wonder and fighting stuff without being try hard level. But yeah, basically, give you kind of a rundown. I did the math of all this. Of PSO 1, and this is based on Steam charts, mind you, which, I mean, on PSO 1 right now, it's basically about as many people playing right now as PSO 2 New Genesis, which is circa like 20 plus years later at this point, or almost 20 years later. I'm just gonna make a party here. I'm not gonna password it up. I'm just gonna keep everything normal. Everything's good. Yeah. And it kind of bounced my, like, I'm like, why is a game that is actually under maintenance mode with very low updates for like user-made content getting about as much player count as the other games? Oh, I'll buy these up. And I realized that there are people that really that actually have never played it before come into it. There are people that have actually played it before come back to this. Reason being for the fact that this gameplay just makes sense a lot. Like NGS, you basically just it's more about the actual stuff you buy versus actually the stuff that you actually play, I guess. Which this game was focused on gameplay in general. I'm gonna switch up the button layout. I'll always like the light attack on this side, and then hard attack on that side. And since I actually have rested now, I can actually save that on there. I think I have buffs here. Yeah, I do have buffs here. I can do that. Use this on the tougher enemies. They're level 1, but it's something to work with. So what I'm kind of hoping somebody does is actually, if you notice how smooth the gameplay is right now, what I'm using right now is loss of scaling to fill in the gap for the frames and stuff like that, which works really good with it. It makes it look a lot more modern. As you can see, I did bring a mag over, but I wanted to have a kind of a fresh feel to this to actually start playing. Get the ropes back on this. And, you know, I didn't include PSU because there is technically 2 servers of PSU. I'm not going to get into that discussion today. That if you combine all that together, you'd have more people playing all those games than you have on NGS. Oh gosh, didn't mean to do that. Oh wow, he slapped my ass down. And it's really kind of sad thinking about that. The fact that you actually have a I'll cast this out. I was going to buff myself. Like, Sega actually had the funds to make a really good PSO. Like, PSO 2 Standard was really good. They actually went back to basics on that. In fact, it felt like they lost their way the last, like, on episode 3, but actually episode 1 and 2 was really solid. Like, basically, the biggest thing about PSO, it was very similar to, oh, I went backwards. It's very similar to Monster Hunter. Basically, you kill stuff to get better gear. Except on this version, except with PSO, it's more like Diablo than it was more like Monster Hunter, where you carve up a monster, you get gear, stuff like that. With this game, you find gear on the ground and you pick it up. And it's randomized as well, too. And it happened to have a good story, actually really good lore under it, too, on top of that. It was not like... To be compared to today, it'd be like top tier cinema, but now, like back at the time, it was definitely like a really good story, but it wasn't like dramatically like you have to must see storyline. Oh, they're running. You had good overall gameplay and weaponry. Wait till you cast it out. Got it. It was very simple. Wasn't designed to be crazy, anything like that. No crazy logic behind it. But as you noticed, I mean, I think about stuff that's actually I've noticed about with games as they progress. When PSO was straying away way more and more from what made PSO like really good, which was like it inspired like a lot of other games that come out to be similar to it. Like, for example, Monster Hunter is probably one of the bigger examples of that. Ooh, a new saber. We'll see what the saber looks like. Okay. Lightsaber. But, you know, with Monster Hunter, they stuck with their guns on it overall. They didn't really stray away too much. The games that strayed away from Monster Hunter didn't do as well. And they realized that. But for some reason, Sega always strayed away, like, for what made their games really good. Uh-oh. Just in time, too, though. They really strayed away from what made their games good. With their overall, like, how they actually outlooked on games and stuff. Oh, it didn't heal me. I think I need second stage for that one. Oh, wow. That hurt. Oh, sorry, I was just dialed in for a second on there. And when you roughly got into the, like, groove of it, you just out there, just hunted stuff. And that's what Monster Hunter that's why people still play Monster Hunter today. You can go back to Monster Hunter World and see there's still a lot of people playing at this point. And there has not been any updates for that game, realistically. There might have been an event or two type deal where basically, you know, just seasonal events, but there's not been any actual updates to that game so far, as of late. Because they don't have to. Capcom realized early on that straying away from their original games was a bad idea. Sega, for some strange reason, because somebody takes pity on them, keeps giving people money, stray away from ideas left and right. Like, for example, with PSO1, PSO2 was super successful on GameCube. You know, a logical thing to do with Episode 3 would be to actually add on to the story with another game similar to what this actual gameplay is. But then they released Phantasy Star Online Episode 3. Guess what it was? A card game. It was released on GameCube, it was released on PC, but it was something that nobody really asked for. Nobody asked for a gosh dang card game. Why would you release a card game when a game is successful off of this? If it was like a little side thing along with the game like this, that would have been a better off deal. Like, for example, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy had their own little game and stuff like that, but they added actual card game to the game itself, not actually making a game by itself for that card game. Which people spend hours on that card game because it have to be in game, which was pretty awesome on that front, mind you. It just was roughly they focused on actually making, instead of actually making a another PSO game, they made like they made a card game. It's like, ooh, people gonna buy this like left and right. It was actually one of the biggest failures they've had so far. People got it thinking it's gonna get PSO, this game like this. They thought people actually, for some reason, enjoyed the story more than they enjoyed like the game overall. So it's like, oh, we'll release a card game. Whoever made that should have been fired at that point. I don't know. I don't care if it was. I don't care who it was at that point. They should have been fired at that point right there. Then, after Episode 3, they had a crossroads situation there. They were already working on Episode 4, which was supposed to be like Episode 4 we got now with Bluebirds was supposed to be way, way longer. Episode 4 is supposed to be as long as PSO 1 and 2 combined. Or as big. They just basically, it wasn't the fact they ran out of resources, it was the fact that they actually had a hard pivot because they wanted to put something on another gen console. Which canceled, because the thing about it was on the game magazines, it was supposed to released on PS2 as well. It released on Xbox, but it never released the they never released what's it called? They never did release the actual episode 1, episode 2 on PS2. I don't believe. I'll have to verify on that one. They never released it on PS2. It was supposed to. It's supposed to even get a graphical overhaul. It's supposed to look even better than the GameCube version. But they was like, no, we promise you the exclusive, your own game for it. But it was already ready on Windows, so Xbox was like, hey, let's put this on Windows and see how well it does. Let's put this on our Xbox. Because they already had a PC version of that, which they had that, they released the game on Xbox. A lot of people realized that a lot of games they released on Xbox was already on PC. Because they had the same architecture and actually, because it was just flick of the switch, it was ready to go. It was a very light game, and it ran really well on Xbox as well too. And also to any of the Xbox players, awesome job on your job on how you had a better version of the game overall. Even though GameCube had better graphics in my opinion, they actually had the I felt bad for Xbox because they had the year older version on there, but they had more access to all the content though. Oh gosh, I got critted on that one. Can't take out any more mono, mate. But yeah, back to like the release cycle. They were already working on Phantasy Star Universe, which that was gonna be a banger no matter what at that point. Which it was. It was a banger. How many slots did that one have? 1, or was that the latest one? That one had 0. That one, I'll sell that one when I get back. And roughly, they released the universe so close to the card game that it wasn't even funny though. That's where GameCube messed out at right there. Instead of getting Phantasy Star Universe on GameCube, which it was very, very close to getting, they got a card game. While they did actually was able to get the other version, they had to wait. Of course, if people had owned the GameCube, never got a taste of the universe, even though it should have released on there. It was just skipped over. It did release on Xbox. It did release on PS2, of course, because PS2 had they could miss out on that whole deal. Like, why would you not release your game that had the most people have on the console available? And they had it released for PS2 and PC at the same time. So of course, lo and behold, Xbox got a version of that like not even like a few months later, I believe. Which I'll go ahead and say that was probably the one I actually really got to experience online because of Xbox Live. And I will always be forever thankful to Microsoft for that in general. For the fact that I was able to experience the online gameplay to the fullest extent as I like to on there. With party chat, stuff like that. It's been some of my best friends. I've actually made life friends on there. Which is crazy to say that. I've made life friends on there, which is, wild. Do I have a telepipe? I do not, but that's okay though. Where is the... Oh, we're gonna go through here. And Universe was definitely the game that was requested. But the sad truth behind the localization of Universe was the fact that everything was pushed back and delayed because of Microsoft. It was licensing issues, which actually was just horrible to say. I don't know. They say it was licensing issues. I say it was logistics at the same time, but who knows at this point. It got so bad to a point that we were basically over 2.5 years behind Japan as far as content was concerned. It felt like that, you know, when we could have had content, they was like, oh, no, we're just going to do this here. And that was Sega of America. That was Sega of America's fault right there, hands down. And even with all that BS that went on like that, we had a really, really solid player base. A lot of people played the game. There was a lot of clicks on there. It was like people that it was a lot of cross gaming as well too. On top of that, it was Xbox Uno / VR chat before PC's VR chat before it existed. Oh gosh, I'm being beat up. And then Bard already got Barter learned. Force already got learned. I'll pick that up, see what frame, how many things are on the frame. I think that's Zach at the beginning. Oh, that wasn't it for the beginning? Okay. I thought it did do something at the beginning on here. But I just have a feeling that Sega America should never run any type of like live output service anymore, because they always feel like they mess everything up in that general scenario. But with this one, Japan is on the bricks on for this one. Oh, I probably could call this. Get my buffs on. Starting to block more, which means that everything's leveling up a little bit. It's another frame. But you know, another thing about when they actually do first iterations of like the each PSO game type deal, it feels like a whole different experience. And I really wish that there was a way to actually roll back the types of like versions of PSO that you could play effectively at that point, where roughly, oh gosh, that's big boy. Oh, that hurt. Oh wow, I'm just getting hurt. He just, nothing I'm doing is hurting him at all. Nothing I'm doing is that damage at all. Gotta get from a distance. He double fireballed it up. All right, do I have any, what's it called? Monofluid? I do. I don't want to waste that tech. Mid distance. Pull up my gap. Now I can't help but laugh. I made the smallest like one of my coworkers. Oh gosh. Oh no 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 no! You get back. Ooh, a Tri-Mate. That was a rare item drop for that. Won't let me lock in on them. Uh-oh. Didn't mean to do that, but that's okay, though. But yeah, the very first iteration of the PSU was definitely a lot more hardcore. Which, believe it or not, some players liked it. But, of course, they had to go with the majority, which majority, it wasn't new player friendly at the time. Gotta add this. There we go. Already got 41. Oh wow, that was multi. It's a trap. Run away. Oh, I did hit him. Oh, I buy a block off. Oh, I got hurt. Dude. I don't want to risk getting into exchanges with him. There we go. But yeah, the very first iterations of like the release of some of these games are very unique in their own right. Like a PSU, when it very first released, if you grinded items, if it broke the item, you lost the item, which was super hardcore. So no matter what rarity it was, you lost that item. They changed it up after the fact on there because I think they had two versions available. They changed it up after the fact because you know they wanted to be like a lot less punishing. They did that to keep the economy down, which they realized the economy was not going to be an issue because people was going to grind on it no matter what. What kind of killed the economy was the actual, what's it called? The glitches and stuff. The grinder glitch definitely killed, like, blew up the economy pretty bad overall. When people figured out how to actually make 10 out of 10 grinders, when they fixed it, they didn't take out all the bad grinders on there. They let everybody keep their grinders from that glitch, and that's what ruined the economy. It always feels like that things that ruin Sega stuff always feels like the stuff they do feels like it's stuff they could prevent it by not being lazy, which is even more so. But of course, when I find a rare weapon, I still remember this. This is one of my bigger moments I was upset about. I found basically battle styles when they first released, and they were worth a stack at the time. And then I found I actually found the second one, luckily enough. I sold the first one already. It was already I already had like 99. I already had like a full stack of Maceta, and I had another pair of battle styles. I was gonna sell that one again. But lo and behold, what they did a server rollback because of bugs and issues. So instead of letting me keep my stuff, they did like a full server rollback. So everything I did during that point in time for that like those few days, I lost all that content. that was like the first time I actually about quit like the game. But of course, the game like League of Legends, stuff like that, it's like a hell of a drug at that point. Certain games are a hell of a drug, though. They'll get you hooked in no matter what. You always keep coming back to it no matter what. All right. Just throwing these out there. But yeah, that was the biggest gripe I had about that. It was the whole, I was grinding my ass off, lost all my weapons and stuff like that. Already went down there, I believe. I did. To be fair, I've always had conspiracies there that somebody basically who worked for either Microsoft or Sega was there was a few in-crowd people there that kept people rich on there because they were selling real money Meseta, which I think people did sell money Meseta for Meseta money and stuff. The gold seller phenomena. Good gosh. Oh, I took one to the chin, and I'm down. Down for the count. Be careful out there, yeah. Thanks for the warning on that. Knocks off his extra stuff I got. That's a one slaughter. I'll sell that off. That's Altered Beast, so I'll keep that just in case. I'll keep the pistol. Oh, yes, I'll do that other pistol. We're doing that. Always check these shops too. Ooh, arrested too. Get those two on there. Oh, better get a telepipe. But yeah, thinking about like basically where I think NGS went off the rails. They stopped letting you do dungeons. They make everything time gated, and that's where they messed up at overall. Example why time gating is bad. Now, for example, events, like seasonal events, okay, you can play there in a certain amount of time overall. What I'm talking about by time gating is the fact that they actually had like bosses you can only fight at certain times, and they hid the best loot behind those bosses. And then on top of that, they kept the same they kept a very, very horrible drop rate with that. And I mean by horrible, I saw more rares on PSO Part 1 than I saw on those PSO2 drop rates. And that's saying something right there. Like, even when they actually got less time gated, the drop rates for the actual game was really, really horrible. But if lo and behold, this is where I think I saw PSO2 really kind of just start like, yeah, I saw start seeing the cracks. Lo and behold, you could buy rare drop boosters for a certain amount of money. And even with the rare drop boosters, guess what? They didn't really help that much. They say 250%. Not really. Not really. There we go. You didn't really see that actual good drop rates on them. To me, at least. Even on JP server, I played both servers too. The drop rates were definitely still kind of like mediocre by a good bit, like really, really low. They were not giving it all for a lot of stuff until they realized that, hey, we gotta do a catch-up event for these people. So they had ways you could grind up to the actual items themselves overall. And another key issue with the game too was the factor that in PSO, this is one thing about PSO. You can find a weapon on the ground like this right here, and it'd be very viable to fight bosses with. It's very damaging. You could actually look for statistical stats like those randomized drop rates overall with these type of gear and stuff like that, those type of weapons. So you always had something to do productive stuff with. Were they the tippy top of the mountain really good? No. But were they good enough to actually handle bosses and stuff like that? Very much so. They were designed for that. They were definitely in on that whole deal. The game, I think the biggest missed opportunity for PSO2 is the fact that the reason why PSO is outdoing PSO2 right now still is that PSO2 respects your time. What you put into it actually matters right here. Like me actually going around grabbing stuff like this, playing around, it respects my time here. I actually have a lot of drops I can work with that I can sort through overall. PSO2 doesn't really respect your time. PSO2 NGS doesn't really respect your time. I forgot where I went to last time. It's also really rewarding on the extra stuff too on top of that. Here they come with those. Oh! I think I got me an egg. Oh, that's Burning Rangers. Never mind. Burning Rangers. If you want to see what this does, let me show you. Another classic. And this is another thing about PSO. It really respected their actual heritage in games, stuff like that. Not a stroke fest for Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, NGS will talk about Sonic the Hedgehog all the time, but it won't give all the older games. The games they actually got to the show respect. Keep on going the wrong way with that. Burn. Oh gosh, this was a trap. Burning Rangers. Dun, da, 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 da. All right, sorry about the ad break, guys. The Rangers. I think I went the wrong way again. Maybe. I think I went the wrong way again. Well, I got this open at least. Daggers. Already did that one. Yeah, that's another. That's just one of those things. I'm just still like 100% wished whoever's the showrunner for these Sega games like this, they would have more consistency across the board. Oh gosh. Alright, this will be a boss fight, it looks like. Any shift this? Nope. That gotta be fine. I wanted one more level, though. Oh, wow. I'm running away. Oh, wow, that hurt. Him laying down there hit me. Trying to hit him with the full fierce. Okay, I got him enough down. Oh, I tried to one-shot it. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. That hurt. Oh, wow. Got him. Run away! Because he'll follow me. Where's the other one at? Over here. Tell me if I've got something or not. Alrighty. Should I go next level or should I restart part 2? Or actually, let's play some people here. See if I was doing towards the future or not. That's the event they do to level up. Let's see. You made hard mode already. I don't think anybody's ready in early mode at the moment. Whew. Looking. Oh, somebody else was running it. Need to play hard mode. Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know. Should I do it? to get on here. Oh, that's the password. All right, we'll do. Alrighty. Luck sells to the enemies. Alright now. I am sorry, I'm getting messages left and right. I just can't focus at the moment. I just started here. Oh yeah, all the maximum attacks. I love it. There we go. We'll wait for more people to come up. Oh, yeah, I'm grabbing a quick drink. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Do we try this out or do we play something else is the question. I kind of wanted to actually play with some other people on here. I think you eat them. I think you eat them. Egg shop's not open yet. All right, so here goes. I guess we'll switch over to today. But question, do I want to play Division on mobile? Do I want to play Division on PC? That's another tough one. My name Beans. Wait till an actual thing gets opened up. Actually, I will get division ready. How about that? I will cut off for right now and then hop back on the division because that'll be the easiest way to do this at this point in time.